July 4th, 1943. The Russian steppe stretches endlessly under the hot summer sun. Waves of tall wheat roll in the wind. Calm, almost peaceful. But beneath that golden sea lies the greatest concentration of men in steel the world has ever seen. 2 million soldiers, over 6,000 tanks, more than 4,000 aircraft, and nearly 30,000 artillery guns. And soon, one of the largest and most decisive clashes in human history will explode across the Kursk salient. This is the Battle of Kursk, the moment Hitler gambled everything on one final offensive, Operation Citadel, and the moment the Red Army answered with a wall of steel, fire, and determination, the Kursk salient. After the Soviet victory at Stalingrad in February 1943, the German front line curved inward around the city of Kursk, creating a massive 150-mile-wide bulge called the Kursk salient. Hitler saw it as an opportunity, a chance to pinch off the bulge from north and south, surround hundreds of thousands of Red Army soldiers, and regain the initiative on the Eastern Front. But the Soviets knew exactly what he was planning, thanks to intercepts from the British codebreakers at Bletchley Park, Soviet intelligence, from the Lucy spy ring, and reconnaissance from the Red Army itself. And waiting for the Germans, the Soviets built a fortress, Operation Citadel. Hitler called it the decisive battle of the Eastern Front, commanding the German assault, Field Marshal Erich von Manstein in the south, Colonel General Walter Model in the north, General Heinz Guderian advising on armored deployment, and elite units, 2nd SS Panzer Corps, 48th Panzer Corps, 9th Army, and 4th Panzer Army. They brought the newest weapons, Tiger 1 heavy tanks, Panther tanks, first major deployment, Ferdinand/Elephant tank destroyers, Stuka dive bombers, the feared Waffen-SS divisions, O Leibstandarte SS Adolf Hitler, O das Reich, O Totenkopf. Hitler delayed the attack for 2 months, waiting for more Panthers and Tigers to arrive. But that delay gave the Soviets a gift: time. The defense in depth. Under the overall command of Marshal Georgy Zhukov and General Alexander Vasilevsky, the Soviets built 8 massive defensive belts, over 300,000 anti-tank mines, extensive trenches, camouflage positions, anti-tank ditches, artillery traps, machine gun nests, and kill zones designed to swallow German armor. General Konstantin Rokossovsky commanded the northern defenses. General Nikolai Vatutin commanded the southern defenses. Behind them, the Soviets positioned their strike force, the 5th Guards Tank Army under Pavel Rotmistrov, waiting for the right moment to counterattack. By July, the Red Army turned the Kursk salient into the most fortified battlefield in world history. July 5th, 1943, the first shots. At 2:30 a.m., Soviet artillery thundered across the front, a preemptive strike meant to disrupt German assembly areas, but the Germans pressed on. By dawn, 900,000 German troops surged forward. Model's assault in the north. In the north, Model's 9th Army crashed into Rokossovsky's defenses, but found only a wall of mines, trenches, and anti-tank guns. German infantry advanced under withering fire. Tanks exploded on minefields. Elephant tank destroyers, lacking machine guns, were vulnerable to Soviet sappers who crawled beneath them with satchel charges. Model's advance slowed, then stalled. Manstein's attack in the south. The main German thrust came from the south, the 2nd SS Panzer Corps under Paul Hauser. Here was the cutting edge of the German military. Tigers and Panthers roared forward. The SS elite divisions attacked fiercely, and the Soviets paid for every inch with blood. But the Germans kept pushing. South of Oboyan, German armor carved deeper than anywhere else. The stage was set for the greatest tank battle in history. July 12th, 1943. The climax. The clash at Prokhorovka is the centerpiece of the Battle of Kursk, perhaps of the entire Eastern Front. On one side, 120 plus Tiger and Panther tanks, over 200 Panzer IVs, the entire 2nd SS Panzer Corps, led by divisions O Leibstandarte Adolf Hitler, und das Reich und Totenkopf. On the Soviet side, 5th Guards Tank Army, commanded by Lieutenant General Pavel Rotmistrov, nearly 850 T-34s and T-70s, supported by tank brigades of the Steppe and Voronezh fronts. At dawn, Rotmistrov gave the order, "Steel on steel, close the distance." He knew Tiger tanks excelled at long-range fire, so he ordered the Soviet tanks to charge straight into close quarters, neutralizing German accuracy. The charge. What happened next defies imagination. Hundreds of T-34 tanks raced down the slopes like a flood of iron and fire. Dust clouds rose. Engines screamed. German gunners opened fire, knocking out tank after tank. But the Soviets kept coming. Point-blank combat. At Prokhorovka, the range between tanks dropped to 10 to 30 meters. Metal collided with metal. Ramming was common. Crews bailed out of burning machines. Machine gun nests shredded exposed infantry. Smoke blackened the sky. Explosions lit the battlefield from horizon to horizon. German ace Michael Wittmann, later famous in Normandy, fought in this battle, destroying dozens of tanks. But even he wrote, "At Kursk, the battlefield was chaos. There was no front line, just fire and destruction everywhere. A near disaster for both sides." By nightfall, the Germans had destroyed hundreds of Soviet tanks, but the SS divisions had lost momentum. Their armor was battered, ammunition was low, and the Soviets kept feeding more tanks into the fight. Prokhorovka did not destroy the German army, but it broke the back of the German offensive. Operation Citadel fails. By July 13th, Hitler called off the offensive. Why? Because on July 10th, the Allies had just landed in Sicily. Hitler panicked, convinced Italy might collapse. The Eastern gamble was over. Hitler ordered elite SS divisions to disengage and transfer to Italy. Von Manstein protested, "If we continue, we can still win at Kursk." Hitler replied, "The opportunity has passed." With their best units gone, German forces began to withdraw. The Red Army immediately went on the offensive. Operation Kutuzov and Operation Rumyantsev. The Soviets unleashed two massive offensives. Operation Kutuzov, led by Rokossovsky, aimed to destroy Model's 9th Army, recaptured Orel. Operation Rumyantsev, led by Konev, Vatutin, and Zhukov, targeted Kharkov and Belgorod, included the famed 1st Tank Army and 5th Guards Tank Army. The Germans were pushed back over 150 miles. Kharkov fell permanently into Soviet hands in August 1943. From that point onward, the Eastern Front moved only one direction, west. Why Kursk was the turning point. 1. It ended German strategic offensives forever. Never again would the Wehrmacht launch a major offensive on the Eastern Front. 2. It proved Soviet superiority in planning, intelligence, and production. 3. It destroyed the myth of German armored invincibility. 4. It marked the rise of the Red Army's large-scale mechanized warfare. 5. It opened the road to Kiev, Belarus, Poland, and eventually Berlin. The cost. Germany lost nearly 200,000 men. The Soviets lost over 250,000. The plains around Kursk were littered with burning tanks, shattered guns, thousands of bodies, the twisted steel skeletons of war. Veterans said the battlefield looked like the surface of another planet. A German panzer commander later said, "At Kursk, we realized the war could no longer be won." A Soviet tanker recalled, "We buried entire brigades together, but we never stepped back." Marshal Zhukov summarized the battle simply, "Kursk was the moment the Red Army seized the initiative and never let it go." And so the largest tank battle in human history came to an end, not with a decisive victory on a single field, but with the grinding, unstoppable momentum of an entire nation rising. Kursk was the battle where the steel of the Red Army met the steel of the Wehrmacht, and the Soviet steel proved stronger.